Starting in our relaxation position, so lying ourselves down onto the mat. So we're just going to take a moment first of all to find our neutral alignment. So tucking the feet in towards you, about hip width apart and in parallel. And just spread the toes into the floor, feel equal weight through your feet, and just a little bit of pressure down into the floor so that the legs are active, you've got some energy in the legs, making sure that the knees don't fall in towards each other or fall out to the side. Just take a moment to maybe scan through the body and check that you're settled down through the back of your pelvis, the back of your rib cage and the back of your head. We're going to start with some pelvic tilts, so if you want to, just settle the hands onto the top of the pelvis, and it can sometimes help to use a little bit of imagery here for the movement of your pelvic tilts. So you could place the hands on top, make a diamond shape with your thumbs and your fingers resting on top of your pelvis. And imagine maybe that you have a marble resting in between your thumbs and your fingers. And we're just going to gently roll the marble towards your thumbs. So you need to gently tilt the pelvis towards you and start to feel your lower back just gently imprint the floor. Don't go too far that you start lifting your bottom off the mat. And now think about rolling that marble down towards your fingers. So you need to tilt the pelvis away from you, feeling the weight coming down onto the tailbone and increasing the lumbar curve. And again, we're going to tilt towards us, roll the marble towards the thumbs, and tilting away, rolling the marble towards your fingers. And just naturally breathe with this nice gentle movement. And not only is it nice for the pelvis, but it's a nice movement for the hips and for the lower back. So a nice way just to get ourselves started this morning. So just gently rocking on the pelvis. And just work where it feels comfortable for you. We're all different and you might feel a little bit limited one direction, so just work where you can, where it feels comfortable. And now think about trying to bring yourself into the middle of those 2 points. So you're settling the marble in between thumbs and fingers. It's nicely settled, level through the pelvis and the hips. So you should find that you've got a little bit of weight tucked towards the tailbone and you've just created the natural curve in your lower back. So you shouldn't be flat and pressing down into the floor. You could use the thumbs and the fingers there, a bit like an arrow, so that when you look down, your thumbs and fingers are in line, pointing like an arrow straight out in front of you. You shouldn't be pointing your fingers towards the ceiling or down towards the floor. And you should just have that small natural curve. You might possibly slide your hand underneath you in your lower back or a sheet of paper. We will all be slightly different. But that's brought us into our neutral alignment. You can now just rest the arms down by your side. And we're going to take the feet out just a little bit wider. So just open out the feet a little bit wider than hip width now, maybe about the width of your shoulders if that feels comfortable. And we're going to come into knee rolls, so slightly different to hip rolls that we've done before. This is about trying to encourage a little bit more movement and range in the hips. So taking a breath. And as you breathe out, start to roll the knees over to one side. So you can let the feet join in and just slightly roll onto the outer borders of the feet. But try and keep the back of your pelvis relatively heavy, so don't go too far. Take a breath in as you draw those knees back into the center. And now breathing out as we take the knees over to the other side. Again, let the feet join in, but try and avoid lifting the pelvis. Breathing in as we come back to the center. And breathing out again as we come over to the other side. So just a nice movement in the hips. Go as far as what's comfortable for you without peeling the pelvis off the mat. Try and keep the shoulders relaxed. We're going to come back to the center now, and we are going to add a little bit of movement for the shoulders just to warm up there as well. So we're going to do the same movement and now add some arm circles. So a little bit of coordination needed. So again, take a breath. As you breathe out, start to roll the knees again, but also float the arms back over the head. Just going as far as you can without arching the spine off the floor. And then as you start to bring the knees back into the center, you're going to circle those arms all the way round to come back down by your side. And now same to the other side. So rolling the knees, starting to float the arms back over your head. Avoid lifting the rib cage. Start to circle the arms and bring those knees back to the center. We're just going to do it one more time in each direction. So circling the arms as you also roll the knees. So a bit of coordination needed. Just take your time. Just encouraging some nice movement into the shoulders as well. Finish your last one. Bring the arms back down by your side. Bring those knees back up. And now just bring those feet back in, hip width apart and in parallel. And we're going to work on a little bit of stability, but also really targeting the hips now. So we're going to start on the left leg, and we're going to do 4 knee openings with a leg slide. So there's quite a lot happening here. So just take a moment again, settled into neutral. Feel that you're gently drawing in through the center. So maybe just take a breath. As you breathe out, just feel that you're engaging the abdominals and feeling supported from your center. We're now going to think about opening the left knee. So breathe in and out as you just open the left knee. Try and keep the right leg nice and stable. And now think about sliding that leg away. So you're keeping the rotation in the hip as you lengthen and slide the leg away. Roll it back into the midline, into neutral. And then slide the leg back in towards you, coming back to the start. So 3 more on this leg. So left knee, breathe in and out as we open first. Keep that rotation. Breathe in as you slide the leg away. Breathing out to roll the leg back to neutral. And then breathing in as we slide all the way back in. Breathing out as you open the knee. Breathing in as you slide the leg away. Breathing out to roll the leg back to neutral. And breathe in as you slide back in. So it takes quite a lot of concentration. Take your time. Use the breathing. A breath per movement. So trying to keep the rotation in the hip as you send the leg away. Finish that last one on your left. We're now going to do 4 on the right. So when you're ready, with the right knee, as you breathe out, open the knee, opening the hip. Breathe in as you slide the leg away. Breathe out, roll the leg back to neutral. And breathing in as we slide the foot back in. Breathing out as you open. Breathing in, slide away. Breathing out to roll in. And breathe in to slide back in. 2 more in your own time. Try and keep the supporting leg as still as you can. Avoid it wobbling around and joining in. Keep as much of that rotation as you can from opening the knee. So a really nice hip opener exercise here. Well done. Finish that last one. And now just to make things a little bit more challenging, we're going to try and reverse the movement. So we're going to do 4 again on the left, but we're going to start with the leg slide, so slightly different. So again, breathe in to prepare. Breathe out this time as you slide the leg away first of all. Lengthen the leg away. And now breathe in as you let the leg roll out slightly. And now breathe out as you start to bring the leg back in. So the knee is still open And then bringing that knee back up to the center, so slightly more challenging. So you start with the leg slide, lengthen away. Let the leg roll out, slightly open that hip. Start to slide the leg back in, keeping that knee open, and then bringing the knee back up. Stay with me, 2 more. Slide away as you breathe out. Breathing in as you let the leg roll out. Breathing out as you slide that leg back in. Breathe in as you control the knee back up. Last time, start with the leg slide. Let the hip open, roll the leg out. Slide back in. And bringing the knee all the way back up. And settle that foot back into the floor. On the right leg, breathing in. And out, starting with the leg slide again. Opening up, letting that leg roll out slightly. Slide back in, so you're coming in on the side of the foot. And then bringing that knee back up to the center. 3 more. Breathe out as you slide away. Breathing in as you roll the leg out. Breathing out as we slide back in. And breathing in as the knee comes back up. 2 more. Takes quite a lot of concentration, so just take your time. And if it is a little bit too difficult, you could go back to that first option, starting with the knee opening. But it's good to challenge that joint. Try and really get the hip working. Finish your last one, bring that leg back in, place the feet back into the floor, and just settle yourself back into neutral. Okay, a little bit more challenging now for the hips. We're going to come into our double knee fold and work into toe taps. So just take a breath in again. As you breathe out, just floating one leg up into a single knee fold first of all. And if you want to, you could just work with one leg first in single knee fold and then switch yourself over. But if you can, again, take a breath and breathe out now as you bring the second leg up to join it. So if you can, working in a double knee fold, try and keep the angle of the leg, try and avoid folding here at the knees, and we're working from the hips. So taking a breath, breathing out as we hinge at the left hip and try and tap the toe to the floor. Breathing in as you draw that leg back up, breathing out with the right, hinge at the hip, tap the floor. Breathing in as we come up, breathing out with the left. So we're alternating. Try and keep the angle of the leg and just move from the hip. Tap the floor if you can. 4 more. Breathing out as you hinge. Gently drawing in through the center. Try and keep the shoulders relaxed. Balancing out and just bringing that foot back up. Stay in your double knee fold if you can. We're now going to add the leg stretch. So we're going to again work into the hip a little bit more. If you need to watch the first couple, that's absolutely fine. So again, you're going to start with the hip hinge and tapping the toe towards the floor. You're then going to lengthen the leg away, scoot that leg up and back into knee fold. Again, tapping the toe. Lengthen the leg away, scoot the leg up and back to knee fold. And again, hinge at the hip, tap the toe. Lengthen away, scoot the leg up and return to knee fold. And keep it going, 8 all together if you can. Take your time if it's too much, just do the toe tap or work on one leg and then the other. 4 on each side. Almost like you're scooping your toes through water and flicking it up to bring that leg back up and into knee folds. 1 more on each side. Just balance yourself out when you're ready. A lot of work for that hip. Keep it going. Finish your last one, and when you're ready, you can return the feet to the floor one at a time. And bring yourself back into your neutral. Well done. Hips are probably feeling quite warm now. So we're going to push ourselves up into our bridge position. So we're going to push up into the bridge and spine curl down. So this is about trying to work the legs a little bit and again open up in the hips. So just make sure that you are settled into neutral and the feet aren't too far away from you. Taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, just push yourself straight up into your bridge. So lifting the hips and the pelvis and lengthen those knees over the toes. And now take a breath in at the top and breathing out as we work it down through our spine curl. So bone by bone on the way down. Bringing the spine and the pelvis all the way back to neutral. Again, we're going to push straight up into the bridge. Breathe in and out to push up to bridge. Breathing in and out as we spine curl down. Again, bone by bone. And bringing ourselves back to neutral. When you're ready, breathe in. And on the out breath, pressing up through the hips into bridge. Breathing in and out, taking it down. We're going for 3 more of these and we're going to hold the last one. So keep yourself going, pushing up into the bridge as you breathe out. And then breathing out on the way down. Articulating through the spine and settling all the way back to neutral before you come up again. Opening up those hips, send the knees away. So we're just powering into the legs slightly, but we're still focusing on some nice movement through the spine. So with this last one now, push yourself up and hold it here. If you want to, you can place your hands onto your hips so you can feel what we're going to do next. And we're just going to work through the hips and the pelvis slightly here. So avoid just sinking yourself down towards the floor. Try and keep the height through the hips. With your left hip, just try and drop it slightly, maybe an inch towards the floor. So you feel now that your pelvis is not level. You dropped on that left side. And then think about pushing back up to bring the hips level. And now on the right. So you drop the hip, maybe an inch, maybe 2. And then push yourself back up, hips level. So again on the left, just drop slightly in the hip and then push back up. Same on the right, drop the hip and then push back up. 4 more. Feel that you push into that foot as you help to push the hip back up. And this is a really lovely movement for the hips. It's mimicking walking, so it's a really nice one to do. Drop the hip and push back up. Drop the hip and push back up. Let's do 1 more on each side for good luck. Why not? Nice movement, lovely. Finish your last one. Hips level, take a breath. And breathing out now as we just come down with our spine curl. Working ourselves down bone by bone. Returning ourselves all the way back to neutral. And let's just take a moment to hug the knees in towards the chest. So a bit of a release here now for hips and lower back. So try and just peel the pelvis and maybe your bottom off the floor if you can, and draw those knees in towards your chest. And just start to gently rock forward and back. Doesn't need to be a big movement, just to help release slightly across the lower back here. So rock forward and rock back. Feel your lumbar spine just slightly peeling off the floor as you roll. Just gently rocking. Taking some deep breaths. And let's release the legs, place the feet back into the floor. And we're going to roll onto our side now for another hip series. So let's just slowly roll ourselves onto our side. And we're setting ourselves up first of all for oysters. So you can use the arm underneath your head. And if you want to, maybe use a pillow or a folded towel in between your head and your arm. Legs stacked and the feet tucked back roughly in line with your pelvis. So maybe just line yourself up with the back edge of the mat. Use it like a ruler. It does help just to get that nice alignment. And think about just lengthening, equal length through both sides of the body. try and lift the waist out of the floor so you're not just hanging down into the mat. We've brought ourselves back into neutral, gently drawing in through the center. So we're going to start with oysters, so a bit of rotation in the hip. Try and avoid making it too big that you roll back through the pelvis. So taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, just opening that top leg. Breathing in as you close, and breathing out as we open. Breathing in as we close, and breathing out as we open. Lovely, keep it going. So we're going for 8 of these. This should be number 4 if I'm counting right. So just keeping good stability through the pelvis. So don't worry about how big that movement is in the hip, because we want to avoid rolling back. Anchor that bottom leg down into the floor. Feel that you're just gently drawing in through the center. One more. Lovely, and bringing it down. So now we're going to keep the angle of the leg and we're going to lift. So it's similar to a lift and lower, but we're working in this position rather than having the leg lengthened. So avoid flattening the waist into the floor. You can take a breath, and as you breathe out, just lift that leg. So it's parallel to the bottom leg. You don't need to go too high. And breathing in as you close the leg down. Breathing out as you lift and open. And breathing in as you close it down. Breathing out, lift. And breathing into lower. So it's not rotation this time. You're just lifting the leg straight up and down. So keep it parallel to the floor. 3 more. So we're working adductors and abductor muscles around the hip. Lovely, well done. Last one. Good, close it down. So if you want to, maybe repeat that one again, or you could go back to oysters if you prefer. This time though, if you feel you can, similar to leg circles, but again, working with the leg in this position. So it's really focusing on stirring into the hip joint. It can be a little bit more challenging, so see how it feels. So again, we're just going to lift that leg like you just did, parallel to the floor. Start to bring the knee a little bit closer towards you, and then start to stir into the hip. So you're circling into that hip joint. Don't make it too big. Try and stay nice and stable. Just breathing naturally with this one. Try and keep that bottom leg still and anchored to the floor. Lovely, well done. So really stirring into the hip joint. Try and keep the angle of the leg. 2 more in this direction. Lovely, and now see if you can change direction. So you want to start by taking it back, up and around this time. Good, keep breathing with the movement. That hip might be getting a little bit warm, so if you need to, keep it small, slow it down, come to a stop if you need to. Lovely, last couple here. Breathe through it. Finish your last one. You can close that leg all the way down. Oh, well done. Feel it in that hip. So we're going to change sides. So either you can just roll yourself over or just take a moment to push yourself up and bring yourself round onto the other side. So again, working on that hip series now, but on the opposite side. Again, line yourself up with the back edge of your mat. Again, use something in between your head and your arm if you need to. Stack the legs and tuck the feet back so they're roughly in line with your pelvis. And that little bit of lift again through the waist, gently drawing in through the center. So it's starting with oysters, that nice rotation, breathing in and out as we open. Avoid rolling back. Breathing in as you close, breathing out as you open. Breathing in to close, breathing out to open. And again, we're going for 8. We're nearly halfway. So just a little bit of centering. If you feel that you're tempted to roll back,
Make sure it's coming from your hip, not your lower back. So if you feel as though you're rolling, that's your lower back trying to join in. So really try and get into the hip. One side might feel easier or harder than the other side. Finish your last one when you're ready. And close it down. Coming into that lift and lower again. So keep the angle of the leg. Take a breath. Breathing out as you lift the leg straight up. So parallel to the floor. Avoid flattening the waist into the floor. Breathing in as you lower. Breathing out as you lift. Breathing in, lower. Breathing out to lift. Again, going for 8. Think about drawing in through the center with this one. Try and avoid hanging down into the floor. Keep the angle of the leg and just lift it straight up. Again, those adductors and abductor muscles, they don't often get used. So it's nice to work that area. Keep those hips nice and strong. Last couple. Lovely. Finish your last one. Close that leg when you're ready. Again, if you want to, feel free to repeat that or repeat your oysters if the circles are a little bit too much. But if you can, lift that leg. Again, parallel to the floor. We're just going to bring it forward slightly and then start to stir into that hip again. 8 forward, 8 back. If you feel unsteady, slow it down, make it a little bit smaller. And keep breathing, breathing naturally. Nice and stable. Gently drawing in through the center. Again, feel the hip getting warm. And changing direction when you're ready. Try and avoid moving your ankle, working in your foot or working at your knee. Really try and focus in that hip again. Try and avoid holding your breath. I know it might be tempting. Keep breathing. Need that oxygen. Finish your last one when you're ready. And close that leg down. Whew. Hip nice and warm. Well done. So from here, we're going to work on some hip extension now. So we're going to roll onto our front. So just roll yourself around onto your tummy. And in this position here, because we're working into the lower half and working into the legs, feel free to just have your hands in front on the floor and you can rest your forehead on your hands. If you want to, you can grab a pillow as well, just to rest your forehead onto, if it's a little bit more comfortable. You want to feel that you can relax the upper body, so whichever position with the hands, just to help relax those shoulders and draw them down the back. Lengthen out the legs behind you, about hip width apart and parallel. Feel some energy through the legs. So we want to really focus on trying to lengthen and lift. So we're working the hip extensors that we don't often use. So don't worry if it's not a big movement here. And what you want to avoid is it creeping into your lower back and your glutes doing a lot of the work. So just take a moment to relax the upper body. Maybe just take a couple of breaths here. And think about breathing into the rib cage. And as you exhale, feel that you're trying to scoop the tummy in. Imagine maybe trying to draw your belly button up and off the floor. So you've engaged the abdominals, but try and avoid clenching your glutes. So try and relax your bottom as much as you can. So imagine that someone's going to come and pull one leg out behind you. We're going to work on the left leg first. So take a breath in, and as you breathe out, feel that you lengthen the left leg. So reach out through the toes, and then start to lift the leg. So you're just trying to peel the front of the thigh off the floor, but don't go too far that you start to lift the front of the pelvis. Breathing in as you lower the leg, and breathing out again as you lengthen and lift. on that same side. Breathing in as you lower with control. Again, breathing out as you lengthen and lift. One more on this side. So imagine that the leg is being pulled out behind you, lengthening, then lifting, and controlling it down. Now 4 on the right leg. Breathing in and out as you lengthen and lift. Breathing in as you control it down. Breathing out as you lengthen and lift. Again, imagine that the leg is being pulled out behind you and then lifting from the floor. Keep the front of the pelvis down so you don't want to go too high. You shouldn't feel it in your lower back. If you are, you might be lifting a little bit too high. Good, and just balance out and lower that leg down. We're now going to alternate the legs. So a little bit more control needed as you switch over. So let's start on the left again. Breathe in and out as you lengthen and lift. Breathe in as you lower the left and breathe out as you lengthen and lift the right leg. Breathing in as you lower, breathing out as you change and lift the left leg. So alternating now. Again, feel that you lengthen and lift. You create a little bit of space in the front of the hip before you then lift it from the floor. Really reaching out through the toes. Try and avoid squeezing your glutes. And just balancing out. 8 altogether. So we're using hip extensors here to help lengthen and lift the leg. Lovely, finish your last one. We're going to change it very slightly now and try and challenge the hip extensors. So if you need to watch the first couple, that's fine, because there's quite a lot happening here. So this time, again, I'll start on the left leg first. So you're going to fold the knee, lift and lengthen and lower the leg back down. So on that left side, let's do 4. So we fold the knee and then lift as if you're trying to reach the toes towards the ceiling, and then lengthen the leg away and lower it down. So we fold the knee, lift, lengthen and control it down. 2 more. Fold the knee, lift, lengthen and control it down. 1 more time. Fold, lift and lengthen the leg away. Let's do 4 more on the right. So fold the knee, lift and lengthen the leg away and down. Fold the knee, lift, lengthen and control it down. 2 more. Really trying to use the hip extensors, switching off the back of the leg as you fold the knee. Again, not lifting too high that you feel it in the lower back. And just finish your last one. And rest the leg down. Well done, fantastic. We're now just going to push up into all 4s. So just bring those hands in alongside you. Start to just push yourself up and bring yourself into all 4s. If you need to, maybe roll up the end of your mat or use a folded towel underneath the wrists, because we are going to be in this position for a little while. So you might want some extra padding for those wrists. So hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, finding those natural curves of the spine, lengthening out through the top of the head and out through your tail. So you want to avoid hanging down through the rib cage and dropping into extension, and you want to avoid grounding up into the shoulders and coming into flexion. So finding length, drawing the rib cage in so it connects with the body. Just take a breath here into the rib cage. Breathing out as you gently draw in through the center, because we're going to need some support here now to try and maintain our neutral spine as we come into rocking. So breathing in and out as you gently start to rock back in the hips, but only go as far as you can maintain neutral. So try and avoid tucking the tail and rounding the spine. Breathing in as we draw forward and return over the hands, and breathing out again as we gently rock back. Breathing in to come forward, breathing out to come back. One more time and then we're going to add to it. So just a nice gentle flexion in the hips and stabilizing the shoulders as you come forward. We're going to repeat this now and add a little bit of movement through the feet if you can. So again, start to rock yourself back as you breathe out. Breathing in as you come forward. And now you're just going to lift the feet, flex, tuck the toes under, and rock back again. Rock forward, release the feet, bring them flat, and then rock back. Rock forward, lift and curl the toes under, and rock back. So we're just changing those feet around each time. Rock forward, untuck those toes, and rocking back. 3 more times. So we tuck the toes under, and then rock back. And then we come forward, and we untuck the toes, and we rock back again. Last couple. So just getting some nice movement through the feet, through the toes. If it is uncomfortable, just keep the feet flat if you need to. Maybe if you've got arthritis in your toes, you might be a little bit limited. So last time now. Rocking yourself forward, untuck those toes, bring those feet flat onto the floor. And now just settling again over the hands and over the knees. We're going to lift the right foot. So you've just lifted the foot, keeping that angle of the leg. And I like to think of this a bit like a windscreen wiper movement. So we're going to try and get a little bit of medial rotation in the hip. It's quite small. So start to just take the leg out to the side, over to the left. So you get a little bit of a swivel here in the knee and in the hip. And then start to sweep it over to the right. Sweep over to the left. And sweep over to the right. So it's almost a swiveling movement, medial rotation it's known as, in the hip joints. Just keeping that foot lifted. Let's just go for a couple more and you can breathe naturally with this one. Last time. Bring the leg back into the center and you can lower the foot down. And we'll do the same on the right. So lifting the foot, you're on the knee. And now start to rotate out to the side. And then in and across. So again, that swiveling movement in the hip. Gentle rotation. Don't make it too big. Try and avoid shifting through the pelvis. Try and maintain that neutral spine. All coming from the hip. Lovely. Last time. Taking it out. Bringing it back to the center. And lower the foot down. Well done. So our last work for the hips here now is we're going to step the left leg out. So if you can, open out the left leg and take the foot out to the side. So try and line up your foot with the supporting knee. So you don't want the leg too far back or too far forward. So try and line it up. And if you can, try and really get the little toe down onto the floor. So you're trying to flatten out that foot as much as you can. Now you might feel a little bit lopsided. You may need to adjust the hands, take them out a little bit wider for this one. So find where you feel comfortable, where you can hold the position. And we're going to come into rocking again. So breathing in and out, try and rock back. And it can be quite a deep stretch, so don't go too far. Breathing in as you rock forward again over the hands. And breathing out as you gently rock back. Breathing in to come forward. Breathing out to rock back one more time. So this is those adductor muscles You'll feel it on the inside of the leg and in the hip. Lovely. Come to settle over the hands. And we're just going to add a little bit of rotation and come into our threading the needle. So if you can, keep the leg there or bring it in if you need to. We're going to take the left hand off the floor and we're going to reach up towards the ceiling. So opening up on that left side, taking a breath and breathing out as we start to bring the hand through and gently rotate through the spine. Breathing in as we start to reach that arm back to the ceiling. And breathing out as we thread the arm through. 2 more. Breathing in, reaching up. And breathing out, thread the arm through. Soft supporting elbow. Just go as far as you can, adding this nice thoracic rotation. Finish this last one. Place the hand back onto the floor and step that left leg back in. And we're going to repeat it all again on the other side. So, opening up the right leg this time. So step the right foot out. Try and bring the foot in line with the supporting knee. Try and bring the little toe down onto the floor. Spread the foot as much as you can into the floor. Starting with our rocking. Breathing in and out to rock back. Breathing in to rock forward. Breathing out to rock back. Try and maintain that neutral spine as much as you can. It's a little bit more challenging now in this position. 1 more rock. Bringing yourself forward over the hands. And now are threading the needle. So taking the right hand away, reaching up, opening up on that right side. Breathing in and out as we thread the arm through. Breathing in as we reach back to the ceiling. And breathing out, threading the arm through. 2 more. Breathing in to reach. And breathing out to thread it through. 1 more time. Finish your last one. Placing that hand back onto the floor. When you're ready, stepping the foot in, back into all fours. And just bring your toes together and open up the knees a little bit wider. We're just going to do a couple of rocks in this position because it's quite nice for the hips when you've done a lot of work. So the knees open, hips open. Breathing in and out again as we just rock it back. Breathing in, rock forward. Breathing out, rock back. And just 2 more before we commit and take it all the way back into our rest position, which I'm sure you are eager for. Lots of work in those hips this morning. So with this last one now, rock it all the way back and you commit yourself into your rest position. Sit yourself all the way back. Just walk out those hands a little bit so you can lower yourself down and settle yourself for a moment into rest position. Feel free to grab some pillows, maybe for behind the back of the knees or underneath your forehead if needed. And just take a moment here for some nice deep breaths. Take advantage of this position for some lateral breathing. Focusing the breath into the back of the rib cage. Just letting yourself settle. Releasing into the lower back and the hips. And with your next breath out, just draw yourself forward again, just briefly coming back into all fours. Return those legs into parallel. We're just going to tuck the toes under here so you can walk the hands in towards you. Slowly, when you're ready, start to send the heels down. We're going to work ourselves up into standing. So if you want to, just get a little bit of a stretch through the back of the legs and the hamstrings. And when you're ready, just slowly start to stack through the spine
and roll yourself up into standing. Working our way up, stacking pelvis, rib cage and head. And I will just turn my camera around so you will be able to see me. Try and make sure we're level so I'm not at a funny angle for you. There we go. Slightly back. Okay, so just finishing in standing now, and if you want to, feel free to step off your mat because we're going to do a few squats here with a little bit of balance to finish ourselves off. So just settle the feet about hip width apart and in parallel again, spreading the feet into the floor and lengthening up through the spine. And just let yourself settle into standing, feeling that you're balanced over your feet, relaxing the shoulders, drawing them down the back. Feel that you're lengthened out through the top of your head. Just take a couple of nice deep breaths here for a moment. And to finish, we're going to work into some squats, because again, it's about mobilizing the hips, but also the knees and the ankles. So we don't want to worry about how deep we take it into the squat, we just want to think about good alignment. So maybe imagine that you've swallowed a big stick. You can't round the spine and hunch yourself over. So keeping the spine nice and long and working from those hips. So I might face this way so you can see my alignment. So we're going to breathe in as we come down into the squat and breathe out as we push back into standing. So take a breath in as you start to hinge at the hips, come down into your squat, just gently reach through the arms and breathing out as we press back up into standing, into neutral. Breathing in as we come down and breathing out as we press back into standing. Breathing in, coming down. Breathing out, pushing up to stand. Breathing in and out to come up. 4 more and then we'll add to this. Make sure that the knees are going over the toes. The knees aren't falling in. Think about a little bit of squeeze of the glutes on the way up as you return yourself into that nice lengthened spine. Lovely, 1 more. And coming back to standing. Now I'm going to be a little bit mean and I'm going to add a little bit of a challenge to finish. So last week we did a little bit of balance. We're going to do that again, and in a moment we'll turn it into a squat as well. So we're going to come into our balancing on one leg. So maybe have something next to you if you feel you need to hold on to something. Focus on a spot in front of you. Feel that you're drawing in through the center, and we want to stay stable through the pelvis. Avoid hitching the hip as you come into your balance. So taking a breath. As you breathe out, let's peel one foot from the floor and lift if you can into your knee fold position. Breathe in and out as you take it down and place the foot into the floor. Opposite side, breathing in and out as you start to peel the foot, drawing in through the center and lift into your balance. Breathe in and out to take it down. Let's do 1 more on each side. And then we'll add the squat if you want to, or you can have an option. And again, spread that foot into the floor and then taking it down. Well done. So if you want to, feel free to just work on the balance or just work on the squat. If you can, we're going to combine it. So I'll show you what I mean first of all. Quick demonstration. You're going to come into that balance, and then as you take the foot down, you're going to step out, come into your squat. You're going to bring yourself back up into that balance, and then take the foot to the floor, okay? So a little bit of a challenge if you feel you can, just to finish ourselves off. So let's take a breath. Breathing out, first of all, just coming into that balance on one leg, And now let's take a breath in as we take the foot out into our squat. Breathe out, start to lift the foot. Whoop, come back into your balance, says me. And then take it down to the floor. Let's try it on the other side. So breathe in and out as we lift. Breathe in, take the foot out, come down into the squat. Breathe out to push back up and lift the leg. And then taking it back down to the floor. Well done. Breathe in and out. Lift the opposite side. Come into your balance. Breathe in to step out. Come into your squat. Breathe out to lift. Come back into your balance. And lower the foot down to the floor. Well done. Again on the other side. Use the breath out as you lift. Breathe in to take the foot out and come down into your squat. Breathe out as we lift into that balance and take it down. Let's do one more on each side. Breathe in and out as we lift. Breathe in to step out and squat. Breathe out to lift, come into that balance and take the foot down. Last one. Breathe in and out to lift. Breathe in, step out and into the squat. Breathe out to lift, come back into that balance and take the foot down. Ooh, and settle into both feet. Spread the toes. Feel equal weight now through both feet. Feeling balanced equally and lengthened up through the spine. And let's just take a couple of deep breaths to finish. Breathing wide and full into the rib cage. And well done. We are finished. Thank you very much. Lots of work for those hips. Hope you're feeling good, ready for the day.